Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So this is part 7 of the Danish Deception. So if you've not seen the part 1 to part 6, you need to go start from part 1. It's important that you start from part 1. So for those of you that are up to date, let's get into the story. Oh, what did I
Deception Part 7.
press?
He tells me that he needs to get a back surgery and he does not want me to come to Denmark because he wants me to meet his parents with him there because there's a serious language barrier and he wants to make sure that I can communicate with them through him. And he's like, I don't want you to be using Google Translate to
Hold on, guys. I thought he said he's from a royal family. Royal family. I don't know English. Royal family, like royal family, because he said if they were dating, if they're to get married, she will meet the Queen Eliza, the late Queen Eliza. That's what he's talking about. So what was he saying? Language, where's the language barrier coming from? Something is up. And from the way he was going on about the girl, there's no way, if he was crazy about her like that, he should have told his family by now. In it, Mr.
talk to them the
Danish.
first time you meet them. And yeah, and at first I was really upset because I felt like he wasn't treating me like I was his family. And I remember having a conversation to my mom about it because I was really frustrated. And she asked me, she said, do you think his parents know about you? And I remember I got really defensive because I told her, in what world would his parents not know about me? Okay. And I told him, I really want to be there. I was still kind of like pushing on him for like the full day. And I remember like that was like one of our first like little fights. At this point, we had not fight at all. Like we have not had a single fight in the last 4 months because it's December of 2022. And so I told him, I said, listen, I really want to be there for you. And he was like, honestly, I don't want to like fight about this anymore. Like, let's just put this to rest. And I remember being frustrated because I also didn't have plans for Christmas because my family was going to be traveling. And I had planned to spend Christmas with him. So I remember I reached out to my best friend, Natalie. I was talking to her about the situation. She said, why don't you fly to New York, spend a couple days with me, and then we'll go spend Christmas in Boston with my family. And I said, okay, like we can do that. And so I brought up the option to my ex. He said, I think that's a great idea. I obviously don't want you to spend Christmas by yourself. And so I said, okay, that works. And I'm obviously extremely sad because at this point I hadn't seen him in weeks. And now I don't know when I'm going to see him again because he's getting this surgery on December 21st. So I make plans, book my flight to New York. And a couple days before I leave, he told me, maybe what we can do is you can come to Denmark maybe a couple days after my back surgery because the doctors say that I need to be up walking a couple days afterwards. And I think it's just my mom that's gonna come. So what we can do is you can come meet my mom and we can go see like the Christmas lights. And at that point I'll be able to translate and everything. And so I said, that's fine. So I was like, I'll fly to New York, go to Boston, spend Christmas with my friend Natalie. And then I'll also have like an extra bag packed for like things to wear in Copenhagen and just make sure I'm prepared to figure out what the plan is whenever he tells me. And so I think we had decided that it was December like 26th or 27th that I was going to go to Copenhagen and then spend like a week there. So I go to New York, have a great couple of days with my friend Natalie. And then on like the second day I'm in New York, I get a message from him and he said, oh my goodness, my dad's back in the hospital. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry to hear that. He's like, his infection.
I have a feeling the dad was never in any hospital. He was never in any hospital. I don't believe it.
Numbers are bad again, his blood poisoning again. And he ended up getting diagnosed with leukemia. And I just, I wanted to be there for him. And I said, like, do you want me to come? Like, I want to be there for you. Like, I don't want you to feel like you have to navigate through these things without having like your partner there to support you. And he said, right now, I just need to like focus on my family. And I'm grateful for you to be here, but I also don't want you to meet my dad for the first time in a hospital bed. And I'm obviously frustrated because I really want to be there for him, but I also don't want to be too pushy because I'm like, this is your family, your dad's in the hospital. I don't want to put too much on him. And so we made the decision that I was just going to be kind of like on standby, which was fine because I was with my best friend Natalie, and I love her so much. And so I was having honestly a wonderful time with her and her family. And so we had left New York, went to Boston. Obviously, I'm still in constant communication with him, trying to figure out what's happening. And he sends me a message. I think it's on December 23rd. He sends me a message and he says, I'm so angry. I just got into a fight with my sister. And maybe like 5 minutes later, he gives me a call and I'm like, what happened? He said, we're sitting in the hospital room and my dad is obviously laying in the bed, and my older sister looks to me and says, so where are you spending Christmas? And I said, not with you, bitch. And it turned into a huge fight. They start screaming at each other in the hospital. He storms out. He feels so disrespected. His mom's upset. His little sister's upset because, like, you know, they're already spending some of their holidays in the hospital, and like now, like they have all this tension in the family. And so I remember just being like so confused as to like why.
I'm not following. I thought the guy was supposed to have serious back surgery on the 21st of December. Or all this is it before this December? I don't even know again.
His sister is like this awful person. Like, why is she treating you like this, especially at a time when your dad is not doing okay? And so he calls me. He's like, I'm just so upset. Like, I want to get away. And I said, well, let me know what you need from me. Like, I'm literally a plane ride away. And he said, well, I obviously, like, now that I'm like don't want to be around my family, I would love to see you. And I said, okay, well, I can book a flight to Copenhagen and come stay with you. And he said, I don't know, I just kind of feel like I just need to get out of Denmark. And at that point, he was obviously in his hometown in Aalborg, which is 4 hours north of Copenhagen. And so he took a train back to Copenhagen. He's spending Christmas completely by himself, so sad. And we're still trying to iron out what the plans are. And he, again, tells me, I want to leave Denmark. And I was like, are you sure? Because at this point, like, I knew that I wouldn't say we were having like financial issues, but I knew like obviously there was like a little bit of tension with like all of his expenses that were adding up. And so I was like, you know, it might be easier for me to just fly there and I can just stay with you. And he's like, I just really want to get away. And I said, okay, where do you want to go? He said, have you been to Paris before? And I said, no, I actually have not been to
Paris? I don't understand. Didn't you just have a surgery? Or you're supposed to have a surgery? So that I'm not understanding. And it's bringing up Paris. Somebody with a back pain that just had back surgery. It's obviously now there's no parent, because if she had gone to that place, she would have asked about his parents. So he just wanted to move the story away from the parents so that she would not want to ask about the parents. I don't think there's any parents.
Paris. And he's like, well, let's do Paris. And I said, okay, I'm absolutely down to do Paris. And so I look at flights. I book a flight from Boston to Paris, the layover in Iceland, and I leave on the 26th, and I get to Paris on the 27th, and I see him. He meets me at the airport. We arranged our flights to make sure we landed around the same time. And something I need to add is before I had gone to Paris, he had told me that he had made a transfer from his business account to his personal account. And obviously in the States, when you make a transfer like that, it's just like a click of a button. Like, I have a business account, it's a click of a button. But he told me that in Denmark, when you make a transfer from your business account to your personal account, it actually has to go through the IRS. They take out the taxes and then they deposit the money into your personal account. And I'm over here thinking like that's so crazy. But I also know like Denmark is a foreign country that I don't know anything about. I didn't question it for a second. And so he said, I'm just gonna ask my mom to give me.
Anybody watching from Denmark, please, is this true? After this video, I'll check. I'll ask ChatGPT. That guy is good.
A quick little loan so I can obviously cover everything with Paris and whatnot. And I said, okay, just let me know what she says. And then he basically came back to me and said, she said that she will only give me the money if I spend a couple more days with the family. I said, well, you should do that. Like, I don't want you to feel like I'm trying to take you away from your family by any means. And he said, I don't even want to be around them right now. It's just like not good for my mental health. And then I said, okay, well, what do you need from me? I said, I can cover like the flights and the hotels. It's not that big of a deal. And at that point we had been on 2 trips together, or no, we'd only been on 1 trip together to the south of France. And then Paris was going to be our 2nd trip. The rest of the times he had now visited me in Dallas 3 times. And so I told him, I said, I can pay for the flights and the hotels. It's not that big of a deal. He said, are you sure? I said, yeah, of course. He's like, I just don't know what I would do without you. Like, I just feel like I keep hitting these roadblocks and you are there to pick up the pieces every single time. And I'm so grateful for that. And I said, I'll always be there to support you. So now we can go back to landing in Paris. We meet at the airport and he told me, he's like, letting you know, I'm not in the best mood. I've been just like really upset. And I said, I am here to make you happy. So we land in Paris, we see each other, we're so happy. And we had the most spectacular trip in Paris. Like, we were just exploring. It was my first time there. And it was, obviously I paid for a lot of that trip and he paid for a little bit of the trip too. So we both kind of paid. And keep in mind, he still owes me $6,000 at this point.
Yeah.
I am not concerned about the money.
So
I don't know why I should have been concerned.
That means when he collected that $6,000 from her, he didn't even make any move to pay her. He has not paid it till when they traveled.
I should have been noticing these red flags, like, bro, like, where's my money? But again, this is someone that I am planning on marrying, and money at this point, like, money comes and goes, and I wasn't focused on that. I was just focused on us. So we finish our trip in Paris, say our goodbyes, and we start just, you know, getting depressed as we always do when we say goodbye. And I board my flight to Dallas, and he asked me, what are your thoughts on us meeting with an immigration attorney just to get an idea of what the process entails? And I said, absolutely, I would love to do that. Obviously, I had Googled and looked into a few things, but nothing concrete. At the time, one of my best friends was working part-time for immigration attorneys. So I reached out to her. I said, hey, can I get her contact information? And she said, yeah, of course. She gives me her contact information. And I call her, we set up a meeting, and obviously, you know, still the time difference. He had a work trip in Norway that he was at. And at this point, also, little side note, we had started sharing our locations while we were in Paris. So I had his location at this point, and I could see that he was in Norway. And he also FaceTimed me from the hotel room. So he was in Norway, 100%. And we had a call with the lawyer, and we were discussing the process. And she tells us it's going to take 18 months for you guys to get all of this process after the time you get married. And I was like, 18 months? She's like, everything is super backed up because of COVID. I always want to let my clients know this stuff so that they are fully prepared. And I just felt like that sounded like such a long time. But we finished the conversation with the lawyer, and I then call my ex, and we're talking, debriefing on everything. And there's 2 different types of ways to get permanent residency in the United States. There's consular processing, and then there's another way where you basically apply for the visa and you're living in the States full time while you're processing the visa. So obviously, because he was still working a lot and traveling a lot for work, and because of his dad's health, we decided we would do consular processing, because why not? But then we start having the discussions on, okay, but the clock starts after we get married. And that's when he says, well, I would marry you tomorrow. And I was like, well, I would marry you tomorrow. And he was like, wait, really?
Hey, the way that this girl was just falling into the trap, like without him asking. Hey. I've said it from the beginning that we've seen this movie before. Like, we've seen it countless times. And it's playing out the way it usually plays out. Yeah.
And now the time has come for me to drop the first of many bombs on you guys. This man is actually not my ex-fiance. He is my ex-husband.
Yeah?
So I will end right now, and we will pick back up in part 8.
Oh my God. Oh, he married her. Ah. Hey guys, so my heart is breaking on behalf of this lady. Like what? No. Hmm. Hey. Well, let's continue in part 8.